Tonight on the Right Angle podcast, what if the road to elite performance meant unlearning everything you thought you knew about strength? Kingsley is a linebacker for the Green Bay Packers with a college career at South Carolina and a reputation for dominating both sides of the ball. Now in his fourth year in the NFL, he's redefining how athletes train and recover through an unconventional method that's transformed his body and mindset. If we would have started this about 2 minutes earlier, I think we would have had an epic beginning. My co-host, Jonathan Moore, and our special guest, Kingsley Enagbare, NFL athlete, D-line. Like I said, if we would have started this about 30 seconds earlier, I would have found out what your nickname was beforehand. We could have thrown it up here for the audience. You said your nickname is JJ.
JJ.
How'd you get that?
So it started off with a little thing my mom used to call me. So it's a show called JJ the Jet Plane. And then, so I guess I used to watch it all the time, and apparently I used to act like JJ.
Oh, really?
Then it just stuck with me.
That's hilarious.
JJ the Jet Plane.
That's funny. Yeah, you said
would have never
JJ.
known.
I'm like, man, how does that relate to Kingsley?
Yeah,
my
like,
name's
there's gotta be
Joel.
something.
Call me Horatio. Horatio, my nickname. Like, yeah, how'd that come up?
I definitely get that question all the time.
Yeah,
But,
and then you also you just swallowed your gum like a minute before we started. I'm like, wait, you like intentionally. I was like, wait a minute, you didn't need to do that because they were like, yeah, you got to get rid of the gum for the podcast. He's like, all right. He doesn't spit it out. He's like, oh, I'll just swallow it.
No, my mom might be mad.
That's hilarious. Listen, you got a pretty cool story in terms of your background and currently what you're doing in the NFL. You play for the Packers. I'm going to let you kind of elaborate more on what you do and how long you've been in the NFL, your backstory. But I want to kind of get into some of the details tonight of some of the injuries that you've had and the training that we've done to either work around those injuries or prevent further issues, and just kind of, get as much detail as we can for the audience. Because like I said, we have a lot of personal trainers, physical therapists, strength coaches, and fitness enthusiasts that follow this. But also we do have some sports fans out there that I'm sure want to know some of the ins and outs of what happens with the Green Bay Packers, because the Packers are a big time org. So it's this will be good. So start us off a little bit about your background with football, like currently what you do with the Packers, like your position, and even take us back a bit to like high school days, like leading up to this. So
I've been I guess playing football since 6, then all the way up to high school, where I pretty much played pretty much both sides of the ball, offensive line and defensive line.
Okay.
Which I kind of hated for most of my high school career. Then pretty much went to college, kind of had like a slight position change where I played DN in high school. In my freshman year, I played D tackle. Then I ended up switching back to DN again. Then kind of been playing DN outside linebacker since college and I guess the NFL. And then this is going on my 4th year and with the Green Bay Packers, all with the Green Bay.
They like you.
Yeah. Now, hopefully.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Now, I definitely want to stay up there. It's definitely cool people, cool fans, amazing environment.
Just discussing before this. For some of the audience who may not know, it's the only team you can buy stock in.
Yeah.
Like you said, they don't have an
So,
owner.
like, literally the fans are our owners.
Yeah.
Like, we ran by the fans, essentially.
Yeah.
So, I feel like that's something that we definitely, while we hold our fans so close to our hearts, because they pretty much control our future in a sense. But
I think that makes for a good environment, though. It's probably not as toxic as some teams where the owner is just.
Then I guess I feel like it means more to the fans because they
Mm-hmm.
actually own stake into it. Us winning, it's essentially going to hurt them, vice versa. Or us winning is going to benefit them. So I guess I feel like we generally have one of the best like home field advantages where the fans are legit like.
Your fans are crazy.
Yeah,
They're into it. I've never been to Lambeau.
Yeah.
Just by watching Packers games.
They're committed.
They're into it.
They say, I guess it's I forgot the percentage, but it's a high percentage of the chance that you're going to see a Green Bay fan or someone with a Green Bay apparel anytime you go through an airport. So,
I believe it. 'Cause
I've seen that.
Yeah, I mean, probably 4 or 5 of my clients are like crazed Green Bay Packers fans. So, I mean, it makes sense.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
We appreciate them, though.
That's very cool. Yeah, it's cool. I didn't know about your versatility in terms of all the different positions you play. I think that's good for, like, developing your football IQ, because you understand not just your position, but what's going on around you. So, I mean, you can speak that a little bit more, having played college football yourself. But, I didn't know you were, you'd play that many positions. we talked a little bit about this the other day. I was curious about other sports you played in the past because you, for the audience, just to know, you just had your first kid. Congratulations,
Yeah, appreciate
KJ.
you. Thank you.
He's a junior.
It's awesome, man.
Very cool.
Congrats.
And we were talking about, is he going to play football? Is he going to play another sport? And we were talking how baseball. It's like, man, that's the sport because you can walk away from that, after 15, 20 years and not be banged up. So it's now you played baseball a little bit,
Yeah,
right?
I played for a year or two back in when I was little, like 6 through 8, somewhere around that age range. But like I was telling you the other day, like that's probably the sport that I wish I really would have stuck with for a little bit longer, probably throughout high school, maybe even college. But for some reason, I can't watch it. But playing it probably was the best time I had playing any sport. Like,
really?
Yeah. I can't explain the feeling, but just hitting the ball, seeing the thing go far, or just that ding or whatever, like the little chants, the what's it called, dugouts, the hey batter, hey batter, swing.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, that was just probably one of the best year of sports I had while playing baseball. But
I can see that.
yeah,
Yeah,
now
baseball's
definitely
unique.
that's one sport I guess if I am pushing on my little boy, it's probably baseball.
Yeah,
It's great.
I don't blame you on that.
Can't go wrong with it.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with it.
Smooth, injury free for the most
Yeah.
part.
And
Unless
you still got the team camaraderie. It's different than football, but
Yeah.
it's, like you said, tends to be a little bit more serious injuries in terms of like anything, especially with concussion stuff. I mean,
right.
You just got like a game every day.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the one
You
thing
gotta,
about
like,
it too.
Live on the road and travel.
Like the
That's
season.
one thing I loved about football. I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't have to do that. You
You're
know
once
what
a
I mean?
week.
Yeah. And then if it's home, you don't even go anywhere.
Right.
So you could be home for the next 3 weeks in a row. Baseball, you're on the road all the time.
Almost every day.
Yeah,
Like
But
you said.
football, it's like, dude, each game is like you're going to war.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you can't do that.
I mean,
more.
but in retrospect too, like playing a 2-hour baseball game, you're gonna get a little sore.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
I feel like even just the fact of traveling, that's kind of one thing I hate. So anytime we had a span of like away games, like you kind of feel the toll of just traveling between time zones, especially if we go say we go to Cali, come back to Green Bay, then go back to Seattle. Like
it's tough.
that's pretty much like I remember we played London, the Giants in London my rookie year, and I kind of had like sleep apnea for like almost like a month,
Really?
trying to get back like to
that's
our
tough.
schedule. So like I could just imagine playing baseball, different time zones
Yeah,
each
it's
day.
tough.
I feel like
It's
that's a whole nother challenge. But
Wow.
Yeah.
Sleep apnea. That's got to be tough for a football player because you need to be recovered.
yeah, no, that was it wasn't fun. I feel like I was going crazy a little bit, but
Hey,
got
so
through it.
that's good stuff with your background. I think it gives us a bit more perspective going ahead here. Want to know a little bit more about? To be honest, some of this is new. Like, I mean, we've known each other for several years now. 'Cause
Right.
You've been training with me for I guess going on this is our
Third
third
year.
off season together. But and this isn't to say I don't know all of my athletes well, but usually, and I think it's the case with us, is we're pretty down to business when you come. It's not like we chit chat and small talk we'll talk a little bit in between sets here and there, but we are down to business. And so a lot of my athletes, yourself included, I don't know as much about your background as some people might think.
Right.
So this is good for me to know. So I'm actually, and we've talked about this a little bit, but your background with strength training, tell us a little bit about that because obviously we're doing the 90-degree method now, the way that we train. And I know you come from a bit more of a traditional training
Right.
background with full range of motion, but like talk about high school and even college and even going into the pros kind of thing.
Yeah, like you said, most 90 degrees is not like I guess a common thing amongst the sports world, especially in college or probably the league, especially high school too. I would say, but like from early on, from freshman year in high school, everything was how low you can get, how
Pushing your mobility boundaries,
how much weight you can put on,
Yeah.
but not necessarily like I guess focusing on like the mechanics of stuff, like proper foot mechanics, proper hand placement, stuff like that. Kind of details that I pretty much appreciate you and both of y'all that kind of stress on, especially like during the workout, you kind of it's like, dang, this sucks, like this
'cause
burns or whatever. It's like this is different, but just seeing the results of it over a course of 3 years, I can say like my body's changed, my mechanics changed, my overall strength, and just I feel like me putting on muscle mass kind of been different with my process with the 90 degrees compared to my other years where where you can say you're getting stronger, gaining muscle mass, but it was like I'm more sore. My body hurts more. My joints hurts more. Just everything just hurts. Like just my day to day. Like I remember, it was a time somewhere throughout my freshman or sophomore year in college where like I almost had like back pain where like literally for like 2 months where like everything hurts. Like where I can't do nothing without pain.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Been there before, man.
Yeah.
Been there before myself with the training.
But that's when we were doing a lot of Olympic lifts, deadlifts, power cleans,
deep range of motions, deep
stuff
squats.
like that. Mat squats almost every week. Oof. So it's like it took a toll on me, and I guess my body frame wasn't.
Well, tell the audience too. You're 275 roughly, right? And how tall are you?
6'4".
6'4", yeah. You seem taller than that. I don't know, man. I think you grew.
Yeah, I hope so.
I don't know. I think you're close.
Shoot, at the combine, they actually gave me 6'3".
Did they?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't know.
No way,
I would
man.
go. I would say a little bit taller than that.
They actually gave me 6'3". 6'3" and some change.
Maybe because your posture is better.
I don't know, but that definitely threw me in the loop. I didn't hear 6'3".
Hey,
I'm gonna start saying you were 5'10" before we started training.
No, literally
5'5".
You said with me,
Transformation.
5'2".
Exactly. A legal midget before we started.
Legal midget. That's funny.
That's good.
Quick question I got for you. With the 90-degree training and the methods, there's so many benefits and good things that it's done for you and for all of us. But what would you say is your favorite aspect of the 90-degree training?
Mainly just the control of it. I feel like with more traditional training, it's really not like you're just repping it out. Like you're just repping. With 90-degree, you actually gotta
focus.
Like you kind of say, pull yourself down. Like when one of the kids was, I guess, doing the body weight stuff, and he had to we was talking about body weight versus like weights. Like with weights, the stuff is a little easier because you have the weights like weights and gravity pulling you down versus you body weights. You actually gotta pull yourself down, know what muscles to activate and stuff like that. But I would say that's the biggest difference for me is knowing 90 degrees.
Controlling it on the way down. Yeah, exactly. Letting the muscles fire.
Drop it at 90 degrees. That's when something's going. Versus the my other forms of if you're lifting, you just repping it out.
That's right.
Relying on momentum. Yeah. It's interesting you say that because I forget who it was the other day, but you're right. We were talking about like how body weight squats are so much harder than just putting a little bit of weight on your back because a lot of people rely on the weight
for the
to
tension.
pull them down.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because I want to say I'm like that at some points where I feel like heavier weight is essentially easier for me at times versus lighter weights. But
like you said, that pulling yourself down or squeezing into position, that's the co-contraction thing, and that's huge because it allows you to create that like coiled slingshot effect. We talked about this a lot with some of the other athletes who've been on here. I've made videos about this, but that co-contraction or the squeezing into position, that is absolutely critical because if you're not doing that, the weight's controlling you instead of you controlling the weight. And so I think that's kind of what you're alluding to is how you're in control.
Autopilot. Yeah, you go on that autopilot, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you miss some benefits neuromuscular and everything.
Exactly. Yeah, you're in control of the exercise, and that's the key, especially for you've got long limbs. I don't know what your wingspan is. You know what it is? If it's like it's got to be.
I think I had like top 5 my combine year. So
yeah, yours is huge. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like my wingspan's literally like shorter than I got a 5'6" wingspan. I got little T-Rex arms, but yeah, yours is huge. So I think for you, and I noticed this when we first started training, like you had a little bit of difficulty knowing how to control your body. I've always said this about you, like you're 25, like you're still growing into your body. If that like you're still learning how to control your body because you got such long limbs, and you've gotten so much better over the years. But I could see how traditional strength training and large range of motion would just be an absolute nightmare for you because it's like, dude, how do I control this when like I have to almost lose tension and sacrifice stability? How do I keep control over the load? Like you almost can't. And I think that's why you were feeling the aches and the tweaks and the pain. And now it's like, no, you're pretty much healthy and like your body feels good. And the training is therapeutic. I always say it needs to be therapeutic, even though we still go very heavy. Yeah. Like you've been getting stronger and stronger. I mean, your weights are through the roof in terms of the loads you've been using. I want to talk a little bit about some of the imbalances and some of the compensation patterns and the weaknesses that you had when we first started. A lot of things in the feet and ankles, some stuff in the core. I think core was always a bit of an issue for you in terms of knowing how to like really pull the core in tight and not let your low back extend, that traditional kind of lumbar extension that a lot of athletes have. You've really improved on that over the years to the point I think I have to remind you periodically, but rarely is it really an issue anymore. So let's talk about that. Like, how have you noticed the training has allowed you to kind of overcome some of those imbalances and compensation patterns from the oblique thing, the low back, the shoulders, the knees?
I guess like you kind of said 2 questions ago, like how pretty much just having the control. I feel like it's kind of helped with my stability. Kind of like it was one of the workouts where we I guess the first year we started working out together, then we did it a couple weeks ago, some variant.
Was the hanging band?
Nah, the little ankle one.
Oh, the toe spacer, the toe spacer device. It's like the one with the springs on it. Yeah. It's like the stability device.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Okay.
So like our first year, it took me like literally 20 minutes to get 2 reps in.
Oh yeah.
But now like
you're about to fall off.
No, literally, like I'm like he got me on the shaking machine. Like
I'm over here pressing the shake. What's going on?
He's trying to sabotage me. Like
David Buster's is trying
no, literally. I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I sign up for? Yeah. But now like we did it a couple weeks ago where I'm like, okay, bet like I actually can do a little something with it where I'm not like afraid of falling over, or like I can pretty much trust myself. But I just feel like my stability of certain exercises, especially in space, with my body in space, or me limbed out, where I'm outside of my center of mass or gravity or whatever.
Mass,
where I feel like that's where I feel like I gained the most by working with you. Just I guess just because like I said, the stability work, I feel like I gained from, I guess, the extensions of certain stuff. And
for sure. No, that's a good point about that device, though, because that was kind of eye-opening, right, to see like the improvement on that, because it literally was, you weren't exaggerating.
I'm assuming from that, the foot mechanics.
Exactly, because that was only the second time we had used that device.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't like, we practice. A lot of people think, we practice all these unique stability tools like every day. It's like, no, we just periodically incorporate them, right? But we work on your body mechanics and your positioning with other
especially
foundational movements. Exactly, the feet, every exercise.
That's one thing I have learned. Well, we're working with different trainers, especially guys who's like kind of thinking out the box. Essentially, everything starts with the feet.
Yes.
And kind of like you prioritize that. Just having keeping your feet in line with your body, your feet in line with your knee, and then that kind of just being able to use your feet as like hands on the ground. Yeah. Essentially,
you've
that
gotten a
kind
lot better at that.
Yeah, I feel like that kind of helps with the motion of pulling yourself down, and I feel like all that kind of correlates.
So true.
Where like when my feet's not engaged, I know my hamstrings not, or my knees gonna cave in and stuff like that. So if I'm like, oh dang, I gotta engage my feet, and I just feel everything else firing slowly up the chain, where my hamstrings firing, and my glutes firing, and my lats, core, everything from the whole posterior chain.
And think about it, like you practice and you play, and your feet and your toes are crammed in the cleats. Practice after game after practice after game. It's like you need to be able to get those, the toe box spread and really use those muscles inside of there. They get shut down a lot of the time in the cleats, right?
Yeah.
So
I guess started. So when I work out in Green Bay now, I got the little barefoot shoes, the Vivo
barefoot.
So I started working out with that, or just really anytime I'm in the building there, that don't need cleats, I'm wearing those shoes.
That's awesome.
To pretty much just get that.
That's awesome.
Keep doing that, because also when you walk, like how many times a day do you take steps and walk?
Yeah,
constantly. So if your walking's off a little bit, it's not bad one step, but you do thousands and thousands of steps. You know what I mean? That can bring you down a little bit.
Because we also, I guess,
very good.
We'll do like a give or take like 30-40 minutes worth of walkthroughs each day, like before we even get to the field. So having those shoes just to be able to, I guess, prime your feet.
That's good, then you activate
before we actually go work out or run the next hour or so. I feel like that's, for me, my feet has been the biggest like key to opening up everything else.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I would say that and your posture and
my head. I remember my head used to be. I was a forward lean guy. Now I'm able to tuck it back a little bit more, especially with the core, sucking in everything.
Exactly. We always say, posture, core, feet, core posture, however you want to.
Down and up, same thing.
Exactly.
It's all connected.
They're all connected. And if you really dial in those three things, the posture, the core, the feet, it's almost like you can't really screw up the exercise
that's
too
the
bad.
high majority.
Right.
Then you have your nitty-gritty things in between, things like that. But that's the meat for sure.
Yeah.
So.
Dude, I think you, what was your major?
Retail management.
Dude, you should have been exercise science, because the way he's talking, it's
Yeah.
like, man, he understands these
so-
concepts better than most trainers.
So I told you when I had my little back issue,
Yeah.
and I felt like some people weren't doing what they were supposed to do to help me get better. I started to be like,
I'm gonna do this myself.
No, literally, like I kid you not, I swear it was days in middle of camp where like that's when camp was worse in college than it is in football or NFL. Like NFL, we're going home at 8:00. College, we're going home at 10, 11 o'clock. But I'm literally middle of the night, almost midnight in my dorm, like trying to like work out. I'm watching YouTube videos, like literally like doing all kind of stuff just to feel some type of relief.
Yeah.
But that's where my, I guess, sensation came with like just rehab or just the body.
Interesting. Well, shoot, your understanding of it. I mean, even understanding like the whole, you mentioned how he mentioned like, activating the feet, how it allows you to squeeze into the floor. I'm like, man, so few trainers even understand that, let alone athletes, and like activating the hamstrings. Like,
but like I feel like certain things like kind of align. So like some things you would say that aligns with what my Pilates lady would say, or vice versa. Now I'll come to you. It's sometimes where I'll be like, this dang is crazy. Like the one earlier this week when we did the core, I'm like, dang, I literally had Pilates earlier today, and she mentioned the same thing that you, I guess, were working on that day or whatever. So just certain stuff like that, kind of where I take a little bits of everybody.
Quick question. Like when you do the stuff, you wear the Vivos and things like that. Like, what do your teammates think of that? Do they catch up on that? Do they think of that?
I don't think, especially in the league, where I don't think it's...
I'm saying like your circle, like your D-line group, that they're like, hey, well, why are you doing that?
Yeah, no, some guys, so it's I'll say it's probably like 6 guys who on that wave. One end up, what's it called? Weight room coaches end up starting wearing some. So I don't think it's like, especially in Green Bay, I can't speak for any other team, but I feel like it's a pretty much an open culture. Everyone's, I guess, on the same type of wave where they trying to, I guess, improve their bodies. Yeah. Everyone, I feel like at this point, like essentially everyone's just trying to find better ways to improve their body. So like, I think that most people are pretty open to it. Some guys would have tried it for a week and went back to the tennis shoes. Some guys stay with it and probably still continue to do it. But I think most people at some point would try it or just open to hear about it.
Well, the barefoot thing over the years, it's become more widely accepted than it used to be.
Right.
But to me, it's like if you don't understand how to incorporate the barefoot mechanics with proper training in the rest of your body, like it's I don't want to say it's for naught. But
you got to. It's right. It's got to relate to your muscle function.
Yeah.
You got to execute it. You know what I mean? That's the setup to the barefoot shoe to help you as best you can.
Yeah.
Like that.
And I think because a lot of people tried the barefoot thing and they kind of shy away from it after a few weeks because like, oh man, at first this helped, but now it doesn't feel right. It's like, no, you're on the right track. Just fix your muscle function.
Yeah.
And then that foot
your body's changing.
Yeah, it's your body's changing. It's in a state of flux.
Do you think? Another question I have. Do you think? Let's just say the whole defense or the whole Packers team for like a summer or training camp in terms of the weight training did the 90-degree method stuff you're doing with Joel and things like that. Let's say the whole team did that. How do you think that would affect the team?
I feel
He's
like
always asking me stuff. It's like, dude, imagine if a whole team did this.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what I mean? Like if they are on the same page of like the stuff you're doing, whether it be to get your body right for performance, everything. How do you think that would help the team?
I would hope it would help. I mean, because I'm doing it pretty. So I'm not. You feel me? So I'm doing it because I know it helps me at least. So I would hope it helps the next man. But like I don't know. So everything is. I feel like what works for me may not work for the next person, vice versa. Like some guys, I like Pilates. Some guys like yoga. Some guys won't do Pilates. I won't really do yoga. So it's like.
Well, I think you've run into the overstretching issue enough.
Yeah,
it's like it doesn't feel right for your body.
Yeah.
To do
so,
that.
But I feel like 90 degrees definitely would be for sure beneficial. But
well, the thing is, it's interesting because even when you've brought this up in the past, I've always said like it's almost like they have to have the right mindset to accept the training.
So I want to say
if you don't have the right mindset,
I'm just saying, assuming they did
have,
and like you, they have the mindset like you. and then they actually go out there and execute it for like 3 months straight. Then they hop into week 1. It's like, how do you think that would,
Yeah, I was definitely saying it would help.
Yeah,
but like he's kind of alluded, like.
But I'm just saying,
the
structure. That's what I was asking.
It's too.
It'd be tough for the whole team.
It's a lot of mental engagement that a lot of athletes aren't willing to go to.
Yeah.
It's not. I say it's for everyone physically, but a lot of people mentally can't, like, because you have to, like, it requires a change of mindset. Like, you almost have to say, okay, everything I've learned with training up to this point, I kind of have to, like, throw that out a little bit and start over. Some athletes are willing to do that, especially ones that maybe, like, have had injuries in the past.
Right.
And other athletes who are maybe a little bit more bulletproof genetically with their tendons and ligaments, if they haven't had a significant injury, it's like, man, to get them to switch over, that might be
pain talks.
Yeah, pain talks.
No, that's pretty much what led me, I guess, to this road.
Well, pretty much every I don't want to say every athlete, but a majority of the athletes that I've worked with, they come from a background where they had some type of injury or pain, and it caused them to kind of question traditional training methods, and then they were able to compare and contrast it to the 90-degree method that we do, and like, wow. And, after a few
weeks.
But
it helps.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it might be a little, not, everyone's got their own case, but you might have a little setback, but it's like, you have a little setback, then you get your body right to what you're doing. That's beneficial. You think if you weren't doing that and you're doing the same stuff, maybe you wouldn't be, where you're going in terms of your progression.
Yeah. But I think a lot of people are stuck in the traditional ways. But I think that's everything in every aspect of life. So, like, thinking outside the box, till it becomes the popularized thing or a cool thing. Right. Then it will, like, but I definitely think this type of training is definitely beneficial, and everyone would benefit, health wise, strength wise, the whole 9, I would say. But
like I said, it's convincing people and getting to the mental part. I think we always talk about the mind, how powerful it is, and it's tricky because if somebody isn't mentally prepared. I mean, the training that we do, I mean, you mentioned it. It's like, man, you got to be really mentally engaged and focused every single rep. It's not like you can just go in there and mindlessly do a set of 10. It's like, no, I want 2 or 3 high-quality reps, pausing, locking in your posture, locking in your feet, your core. It's like, man, a lot of these workouts, people are just as mentally fatigued after as they are physically fatigued.
You're talking about the body weight.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I want to transition here to the injury, the knee injury. I want to just before you even get into this, I had never had a pro athlete tear an ACL, which I was always, kind of proud of. Obviously, you're going to talk about yours, but whenever an athlete who I've worked with has any type of injury or setback or tweak, I'm in my mind, first off, it's always like, oh man, it's too bad for them. Like, I pray for them and hope that they feel better, whether even if it's not my athlete. Like, I never want anyone to get injured. But especially, feeling for you when I saw that you had the injury, which I'm going to let you elaborate on a little bit here. So I immediately felt for you, but also my mind immediately went to like, what did we do wrong in training, or what went off with the his body mechanics that this happened? But in retrospect or in hindsight, it's almost like, wow, maybe the training was actually the thing that possibly helped to prevent this from being worse than it was. With that said, you talk about this knee injury, because in my opinion, it's I have not seen anything like this ever in the NFL and pro sports even for that matter, but particularly the NFL.
All right, so I guess when was it? 2 Januaries ago. Pretty much the first round of the playoffs. Literally 5-6 minutes left in the game. Almost we're winning by three possessions. Boom. So basically,
the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm. So basically, I'm kind of running at an angle, but I'm cutting. So I'm running at an angle, but as I'm planning to go back this way, one of my teammates, I guess, foot stepped on my foot. So as soon as I planted, he steps on my foot, and I'm still like running. So I'm running this way, plant this way, but like in a curvature motion. And then so like my foot's being like placed or stepped on as I'm trying to run. So boom, that happened. I'm just like, dang, that don't feel. Or I think I might have like fell down to my knee or something like that. I'm like, damn, don't really feel right. And then I'm like, dang, I can't get out though. Like, so I limp back. I limp back to the line of scrimmage, and then they hiked the ball, the next play or whatever. I try to get out, and I'm like, yeah, I can't even do it. But luckily, the dude across from me, like, he wasn't no a-hole, and like he like if he wanted to, he could have like,
oh wow,
did me like all kind of worse ways. But like he showed like, I guess he's seen that I was
showed
like
some restraint.
Yeah, so then he like we both was just like, I'm literally mid play, like just holding my leg like this, and he's just standing right there. But like if he was like an a-hole or something, like he could have like did me the worst way. But long story short, end up getting I guess doctor examined it, thought it to be I guess it was a torn ACL. Then over like a course of 2-3 weeks, I kind of like did rehab like as a person with ACL would do before surgery, like surgery prep, just make sure it stays strong or whatever. Like
you were getting antsy to get the surgery.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. So like crazy part is, so like you said, the whole time I'm antsy, like pressing them, like calling the doctor, the surgeon I'm supposed to be booking with, and pretty much pressing him and my team doctors to like, I guess, make it faster, which it really no one could do. But like, so that was just me being antsy, just trying to go ahead, get back on the like road to recovery.
God had a different plan.
No, literally, God working mysterious way. So like, boom, we end up getting it scheduled. I fly out there, and then the day before the surgery, so I had a consultation. So if I would have flied out Friday, Saturday morning, I would have had a consultation, and surgery would have been like Sunday or something like that. Saturday come for the consultation. And then he's like, we're talking, and I'm like, yeah, I guess that would have been at that point like 3, maybe 4 weeks
from the injury.
Yeah. Okay. So so I'm like, yeah, this is how I feel since then. Like each day, each week, whatever. Like I'm able to like, it feels stronger, more normal. I ain't gonna say normal because obviously I was still limping, or I couldn't run at the time, or run, jog, any of that. But I was able to walk.
It was improving. Yeah.
I was able to walk like almost fine. So then basically I was telling him all those things. Then like I was telling him like the rehab stuff I was doing, and kind of the stuff that I was doing at home that I probably shouldn't have been doing. And then he was like, all right, cool, jump for me a few times, do this, do that. And then he was like,
so he assessed you basically.
Yeah. Then pretty much he was like, from the looks of it, like, and from what I'm telling him, he was like, that don't pretty much sound like a torn ACL. So then I'm like, what the heck? Like, I've been waiting 3 months or 3 weeks to be told that it's not torn. And now I'm like, a whole bunch of stuff that's just flowing through my mind.
You're trying to get it done.
Yeah.
You're trying to get a move on. And he's
so now I'm like,
it's not really, you look kind of okay. You
know
what I mean?
So then either I flew back to Green Bay that day or the next day, and then started talking with the doctors there, and I guess my agents and stuff like that. Just trying to figure out the next best move. Then
Is this where they wanted you to go and get another opinion?
Yeah. So then that's when I guess I went back to Chicago a couple days later for another I guess knee specialist or whatnot, or high renowned surgeon, and then he pretty much kind of said the same thing. Basically saying like, yeah, just try it out, just rehab it for a month, and see how it goes from there. Then if it feels terrible, boom, just get the surgery.
Right.
If it don't, just continue to rehab it, and pretty much just. Now
they agreed that it was an ACL tear, but they weren't sure if you needed the surgery.
So I guess so the MRI itself. So I guess the MRI shows that there's some kind of tear. But they say like a sprain is technically a tear.
Right.
So like how much of a tear that really is there, or how much of my ACL is there, is I guess unknown, because I never end up getting a scope or nothing. Right. So that basically what happened in the second with the second opinion. He pretty much was like, yeah, if it turns out the ACL is fine, having a scope might hurt it, or it just might just pull me back, push me back unnecessarily, versus if it's fine and he don't get nothing, no scope, no nothing, I'm able to just rehab it, come back 4 months shorter than if I had a real ACL. So I guess the upside was more beneficial than to go look at it versus just trusting it and But
So basically, yeah, no, that's crazy. So basically, okay. So one of the things for people who are listening to this, typically in professional sports, and I mean, you know this too, any type of significant ACL tear, it's like they're almost always getting surgery. Yeah, they're always getting cut on. This is one of the few times where I've heard of where it's like, this is a pretty significant like ACL. It wasn't a full tear, obviously, but you were able to rehab your way through. And I think, obviously, first and foremost, there was some divine intervention there. I think, sure. God prevented that from being way worse than it could have been. And even the timing of it, you didn't have to really miss any part of your season. And then I like to think that the training that we had done and have been doing played a part in helping to stabilize the knee so that the muscles were able to absorb a lot of that impact and prevent it from being a lot worse than what it was. Because I've said for many years that there's other people that would agree with me on this, that a lot of injuries that people get surgery on, I would say, I don't know what percentages, whether it's 80%, whatever, oftentimes they wouldn't need surgery if they actually rehabbed correctly and just improved their muscle function. Now there are obviously there's times where there's
but there is a lot of cases and times, whether it be athletes, people we know, where they did not need to get surgery, they did not need to get cut open and things like that. And then, but in your case, even takes it a step further in terms of the severity, how you did it, the rigor that you have playing in the NFL, things like that. So it's pretty remarkable. Yeah, honestly, with God's help, everything like that, and I think sticking to the training and the methods consistently. Now that's been helping you and staying on top of it. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, we've been. Honestly, like, when you first came back from that, we had to go like pretty easy, not easy, but we had to ease into it in terms of the training. Like we had to reduce the loads, we had to reduce the intensity, we had to cut back on some of the impact exercises, and then we gradually worked our way back up. But this off season so far, we're only like, I don't know, a month and a half in, but your results have been crazy. I mean, you're doing...
It's probably the strongest I've been in a while. Strongest without pain, shall I say. Since probably college or since ever.
I mean, you did the other day, you saw 225 barbell lunge jumps, that's crazy. That's with a guy who has a torn ACL, and you're doing barbell lunge jumps with 225 on your injured side. You did it on both sides, obviously. And you're able to absorb impact perfectly because your technique, your mechanics are so good. Most individuals with perfectly healthy knees, I'm talking NFL athletes, if they did that, they might tear something. But you, even with the pre-existing ACL issue, it's like, your muscles are so locked in, they're absorbing all the impact around that. It's like, man, bring on the impact, bring on the load, as long as your muscles are doing their job. So this is what I've been saying for a long time and reiterating, but it's also starting to become a little bit more common consensus in the industry that maybe we need to re-examine some of these injury scenarios, even ACLs, and say, would rehab be a better option for some of these? Not all of them. Some of them are so severe, because I have another client. It's a lady she was in her 50s when it happened. She tore her ACL in a skiing trip. It was a full.
It's always skiing.
Yeah, I know. It was
I have a couple friends at skiing.
Oh yeah, no, skiing's rough. She had a full ACL, like complete, and she never had surgery on it. And we do, squat jumps, we do heavy lunges, and she's fine. But her muscle function has to be perfect. So if someone doesn't want to commit to having perfect muscle function, then I would say, a lot of the times they probably will have to go to the surgery route. But I would say, in contrast to that, if they commit to, hey, I want to get my muscle function optimal and best, then they oftentimes won't need surgery, which I think is what happened with you, which is a testament to your dedication to training and to your craft, and just being a
maybe
really...
some people like the surgery. I don't know. I'm just gonna take a little break.
That was not for me.
Exactly.
That break.
Sure.
No, I mean 9 months off the.
Oh yeah,
that's a lot. That's a lot.
Been...
But that and also like what you were saying. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but at least what I picked up from that is that you didn't miss any time.
No.
That's awesome.
Nah, I guess the time I missed would have been off-season vacation time. But
still, though, that's...
I mean, it's without a doubt, I want people to comment below if they can find another similar level of injury in the NFL or any professional sport where the individual didn't have surgery and is able to do what you're doing now. Again, like I said, just it's pretty remarkable, pretty incredible. Yeah, I mean, even your upper body strength, though, we talked a lot about the legs and what you're able to do now. No issues, but your upper body, like bench press, has gone through the roof. I feel like this off season, like these last even 3 or 4 weeks, something clicked. And again, you got such long limbs. Your hands are also just massive. Even holding the barbell, it's like you like fat grips. More so than a normal bar because you can actually wrap your hand
feels normal
contact.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Feels normal.
I was the other day, dapped you up, and I was like, my gosh, bro. It's just like,
They're like bear paws.
Yeah, man.
No, I remember growing up, people would be like, you got huge hands. I'd be like, they look normal to me.
Of course they do. It's normal, man. Normal. Even your fingers, dude, the whole thing is like a bear claw, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But no, your improvements in upper body strength have also been crazy. I think this is the most muscular that I've seen you.
Yeah.
I mean, your arms, upper back, chest, and so it's been cool to see. What have you noticed with like just on the field, some of the improvements that you've seen with the training that we do in terms of like how your body handles agility, change of direction, cutting, impact, whatnot?
I really just feel like my palate would just being able to, because I guess the 90 degrees is kind of essentially the way we squat, stuff like that. It's kind of just a natural football position, like especially for like linebackers, single leg stuff, like the lunge positions, my 2-point stands in football, or the squat positions, linebacker starting point. You feel me? So it's like I feel like
especially
it's very
on the edge a little bit.
Yeah. So I feel like it's just transitional it translates into football very well. Where like the stuff, the list, especially lower body stuff, is my natural positions that I have to play in football. Right. So it's I feel like I feel stronger. Basically, I feel stronger in those positions. Like my get offs, my just being able to brace for contact and stuff like that, absorb contact.
Oh yeah.
I feel like I'm able to just take those on a little bit better than I was my previous years. It's kind of like the lunge jumps. Yeah. I feel like that kind of correlates with that, or just the kind of just the balance stuff that we do. Not balance, but like the squats with the like the pendulum effects,
where it swings,
you gotta brace, absorb, and stuff like that, where it kind of just throw that.
You have to be in control of your body. If you're not, your center of mass is going to be moving around, especially with something like the hanging band version, what you're talking about, like the pendulum squat, where you got the cambered bar on you, where
you pretty much got to be cored and braced up the whole time. That's kind of football where you don't know what's going to happen, so you kind of essentially got to be ready for it, like 24/7. So,
well, it's back to that control that you mentioned, the motor control, the ability to have, basically, like you said, control over your body in all positions, and that's what we work on so much. And that way, when you are in a bad position or you do get kind of
natural,
you're able to handle it, right? You're able to get like into occasional bad positions. It's going to happen as an athlete, but you're able to handle it well because you've trained your body so much with good positions that it immediately wants to pull back into those ideal positions. So you're not pulled out of alignment excessively. Right. Whereas a lot of people, if they train with excessive range of motion, they get yanked out of alignment and their body goes even further out of alignment and has more musculoskeletal deformation because they're training in that direction. So their body just gives more. Your body is not going to want to do it because it's used to those optimal positions. So this is why with the lunge jumps, your body knew how to catch and absorb right at 90. It's the same position we've been training for a few years now, whether it's a body weight lunge, whether it's an eyes closed lunge, or whether it's that 225 lunge jump.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, you got the long limbs too, so that's never easy. But I think for you, understanding how to lock in the core, the feet, the posture, the head position, that's been big. Even the breathing too.
Yeah.
So
you think about a rep, like ideally, right? How long would a great rep take?
Probably like 5, 6, 7 seconds.
Generally, how long's a snap in a game? Or give or take
exactly
around there,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's just the correlation of that. You know what I mean? Like even that tension locking in about that
I really never thought about it like that, but that kind of makes sense though.
Yeah. And then in those same positions, so very, very applicable.
Well, how often do we do sets of 8, 10, or 12 reps? Like never.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe occasionally, but usually everything's like 2 to 5 reps.
Right.
It's because we're focused on quality. We're focused on the control, and you do that for 2, 3, 4 reps. It's like, man, you're fried.
Right.
You need to take your break after that. Just a few more questions, then I want to wrap this up because I know the audience wants to maybe know a little bit about your perspective on maybe the haters, because I always like to ask the athletes that. Like, you see some of the hate in the comments, but you've also had to, like, I don't know if you've had to deal with it with other strength coaches, what they've thought of the methods. What would be your recommendation to people that hate on the training? Because it's not conventional, it's not traditional. Right. And like you said, you got to think outside the box, right? You got to have an open mind. So what would be some of your advice for people who've seen the methods, but like haven't tried it?
Pretty much, like, if you haven't tried it, I feel like you can't knock it. Like don't judge a book by its cover, essentially. I feel like this training is exactly that. Like, my first time looking at it, I was probably one of them guys like, the heck? But like, till I actually like reached out to you and then started working out, like, I'm like, this is legit. Like, I feel my body changing. I feel my, like you said, my mindset changing. I'm able to really control my body more, essentially, throughout every movement of the rep. Where like, I guess traditional lifting, where it's like I don't know if it was just the coaches I had, where I'm not thinking about the reps, kind of how we talked about earlier. You just repping, doing it, just because you got a set of 3 or 3 sets of 8, so you're just doing the rep versus actually thinking of each set of 3 as a
singles, right?
Yeah, like each set of 3 is a set of broken down into another set of 1.
Yeah,
where each rep is just as much important as the last one.
Yeah. 3 singles, right? If you got 3 reps, think of it 3 singles.
Yeah,
one rep at a time. Yeah. Nail that.
Yeah.
Do the next rep. Nail that. Not like, I got to do a ton of reps. Like, no, do 1 rep at a time and nail it. Move on to the next one.
Yeah.
But then also just for me, at least for my position, like I said a few questions ago, like, everything kind of translate to what I do on the field, where like everything is, even like bench press, like me pushing someone off, my hands are going to be right here. This is pretty much, I guess, 90 for the most part. Like, you're not going past here in football too much. If you are, someone's getting this close to you in football. That's a bad position. You want to keep them.
Get up in the pads.
You feel me? So like, that just, it translates well for me, at least. But just like I said, I feel healthier. After working out, I kind of just feel my body just feel more in alignment, in the sense of like, the muscles that's supposed to work is working and firing, versus just feeling sore from a workout.
Yeah. You don't feel beat up, right? You know you're
like, it's good work, but you also feel like corrected by it.
That's a good way to put it.
Where like so I know for me, like, I have hip imbalances where like sometimes where after the lift, I'm just like, dang, I feel like I'm walking evenly. Both feet is like placing.
You're able to self-correct and understand your body a little bit more.
But like I said, so it's just not like we're going through the motions of just trying to lift weights and just smash dumbbells and stuff like that, where I feel like it's actually like everything is important. And I kind of
therapeutic, right? Yeah. Even though it's intense and you lift heavy, it's therapeutic.
Yeah.
It's
not. Where's the negative? Yeah. So I would say, where's the negative?
For sure.
Because I mean, there's not one time where I lifted practicing this method where I'm like, dang, like, I'm just overly messed up, overly sore. Like, if anything, I'm more sore from running, my running workouts, than from what we do with you or y'all too, where like I can't work out the next day. Every workout with y'all is, I'm messed up by all means, but it's like a good messed up where it's like, dang, this muscle ain't firing, I don't know how long ago, type of thing. But
it's great.
Yeah.
Waking up new muscles.
It's great.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Any other advice you would give young athletes, just general advice? I mean, being a professional athlete and having gone through the ranks and put in the work, put in the time and the dedication, the discipline. You're always punctual. I will say this. This guy is always punctual. So I would add that to young athletes. Be punctual, because it tells a lot about like your work ethic. So that's, it's small things matter. But any other advice you'd have?
I would say, just for me, I know I'm a bit routine guy, where like I like my day-to-day planned out, my week-to-week planned out, where like I feel like I'm pretty organized, so I like everything planned out, where I know I gotta do this, do that, do this in a scheduled way, where but also just that kind of just having a routine and sticking to it, being disciplined to yourself. I feel like everybody owes that to themselves, whatever their life may lead to them. Being disciplined to yourself is gonna get you far in life than I feel like anything else, because no matter what, everyone has their life, and pretty much take control of your life and your actions for your life that you want, I feel like everything will fall in place. Like I was talking to one of my friends, I guess, just how kind of like it sounded like a joke, but I essentially planned my life from once I was 6 years old, where I knew I was gonna do this, I was gonna do this. I can't do this, so I can do this. Where I sacrifice certain things. So just knowing what you want to willing to sacrifice, so you can have something greater down the line. I feel like it's probably another important thing.
Focus, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But
awesome.
And then
just being consistent. Also, that's number one though. Consistency and discipline.
Yeah, and then leaving the rest in God's hands, right?
That too. That
There
too.
you go.
That
There you
too.
go.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
that's awesome.
Without
Last
him, none of
question
this
I
possible.
got. Who's the hardest opponent, the toughest opponent you've ever played against?
Team wise, just I guess
Player.
offensive tackle
Player.
wise.
I guess so. Tackle
Or-
somebody.
The craziest play or just moment where I'm like, dang, this dude just messed. We played Bama a couple years, or in high school, not high school, but college.
Played Bama in high school. Good luck.
Yeah,
Good luck.
had a spring game with Bama.
Yeah.
But now, so what was it? My sophomore year, we played Bama. They had Najee Harris.
Was it there or at home?
At home. So it was the first. We was actually in a game with them. So we just beat. Was it Georgia? Or we beat Georgia the week after. One of the two. Boom. Either we beat Georgia the week before or the Georgia the week after. So like, I want to say it was the week before. So we was amped. Like we felt good about ourselves. And then we were at home. First half we was in the game, but then Najee Harris, he had like this. He took it like 60 yards, where he literally hurdled 2 people, trucked 3 people, outran the rest of the team, and just did some crazy stuff. But that's probably the craziest like football moment where I'm on the
Najee
field
Harris,
looking at a person doing something.
This guy's
on
another
the
level,
SEC or what's it called? Back in the day, Sports Center's top 10. Like literally, that was a SC top 10 moment. So
That's funny.
that's probably the craziest craziest
cool.
play.
That's cool. He made a lot of good plays.
Yeah.
I've seen him do a lot of stuff like that.
But I guess league wise, you could say the tackles for the Philly, they're pretty solid.
Philadelphia.
Lane Johnson and I forget the guy, but he's a Australian kid. Only been playing football for like less than 8 years or something like that.
It's impressive. It's cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, well, I mean, if people want to find out more about you, they can obviously, your name's all over any of the Green Bay Packers stuff and lots of sports media about you. So, and then you're on social media too. They can follow you. Yeah, man, this is good. I'm excited for the future for you. I'm excited to see you develop, not just as an athlete, but even just as a person. I feel like, you've grown a lot in having the kid and, everything you're doing with your life. But yeah, I mean, I'm seeing your body hit another level with strength and stability and body control and muscle mass. So I'm excited to see what the future holds for you in football, and pumped for this upcoming season.
Yes,
so
sir.
Anyways, yeah, that was good stuff. Appreciate you being here.
No problem.
Thank you, man. That was
Thanks
great.
for having me.
Awesome. All right, guys, that's a wrap.